All right, hello wine drinking people. Time for more of what I've had to drink yesterday. And our good friend Dave Christensen was in from Uva Imports with a small producer from the Piedmont, one of my favorite wine producing regions on earth, Demarie, and I'm not familiar with this producer, but I did have their Arnais earlier in the year, so this is 2013 we've already reviewed. And these guys are a small producer. They make about 100,000 bottles, so less than 10,000 cases, and very fresh and clean style of Arnais. This is all stainless, all family owned, all estate bottle juice, everything in this line up here. You get a nice hand of that seashell kind of minerality in this wine. Some fresh pear and apple fruit, some pretty white floral notes, very clean and fresh. That juicy pear and melon fruit showing on the tongue with that tongue-tingly minerality shown on the finish. A really nice little fresh white wine from the Piedmont. Very good at $18.50. All right, the Barbera d'Alba up next. And Barbera, one of my favorite grape varietals. I'm so glad they didn't stop by with Dolcetto. And this is fermented in concrete. Spends about 8 months in barrel, neutral barrel, of course. And it's got a lovely bouquet of dark berry fruit, cherry, blackberry, violet, or a touch of that black earth, kind of truffly notes. A good amount of juicy berry fruit on the tongue with silky smooth tannins. Another thing we love about Barbera. Very easy to drink on release. This 2011 still showing some lovely, gorgeous, juicy fruit. A little hint of floral and earth note on the finish at $22.50. A great example of Barbera from Alba. And then they make 3 different Nebbiolos, and we had 2 of them here. They make a Nebbiolo Langhe and a Nebbiolo d'Alba. So they're all from estate fruit, and the Langhe is a more entry-level style, all from vineyards in Barbaresco in the Barolo zone. And this is stainless steel. And you get the really nice, ripe, fresh cherry fruit out of this. A hint of that truffle and kind of black spice and a little bit of herbal and floral notes. Very forward and juicy on the tongue. This is 2012 vintage, so really young Nebbiolo, but it's made in a style that is meant to be drank early. Really soft and round tannins and really easy drinking wine. A hint of that floral notes and spice and a little bit of dryness. After all, it is Nebbiolo, but a very good example of an entry-level Langhe Nebbiolo at under 20 bucks. Very good juice. The Nebbiolo d'Alba, a little more serious here. And the third one that we didn't have, by the way, is the Roero. One of the hardest things for me to say, Roero, which is another area that they make DOC Nebbiolo here. But this has got a little hint of that kind of seashell minerality to the nose here. Very earthy bouquet, some truffles, some tar in this wine. There's also some pretty red cherry fruit there, but very traditional vinification in concrete, 1 year in large oak, a really classic style of Nebbiolo d'Alba. Whereas the Nebbiolo d'Alba's, the Langhe is more drinkable. This is a little more serious wine here. Good amount of tannins, some nice structure, that ripe berry fruit showing through all the way to the end, some pretty rose petal notes and that earthy character, that minerality showing. Very good juice at $27. The Barbaresco and Barolo up next. We have the 2010 Barbaresco and 9 Barolo. 10 to me, a great vintage for Nebbiolo. 9, very good, very forward, and usually Barolo's bigger than Barbaresco, but you probably could have showed the Barbaresco after the Barolo in this case because of the vintage difference. This is the Barbaresco's from vineyards in Nieve, and there's only 4 villages in Barbaresco, whereas there's 11 in Barolo, so it's only a fifth of the size, so much smaller. This wine's got a touch of kind of smoked meat to the nose, white truffle, fresh herbs, kind of rose petal, really nice complexity, some spice and earth and fruit really showing nicely together on the nose. Nice structure here on the palate, nice depth of fruit, some firm tannins here, and a wonderful hand of acidity as well. This has got great balance, that spice and floral and earthy note from the nose showing through on the finish. Excellent juice. The Barolo from vineyards in La Mora, and aged in large oak, very traditional here. Pretty nose, that rose petal, that exotic spice, and earth, kind of clay-like minerals showing, some red cherry fruits. Really forward and seductive vintage for Barolo. This one's got that classic red cherry fruit, exotic spices, floral highlights, white truffles, tar, earthy notes. Big, but still has balance here. Excellent little example of Barolo. Both of these wines, great values. $36.50 for the Barolo. Wow. And $32.25 for the Barbaresco. All right, and then a really fun little wine, this Burbet, which is Bracchetto. They make a lot of sparkling wine in the Piedmont. They make Moscato, which is white, Bracchetto, which is red, and this is a non-vintage wine that for some reason by law they can't put a vintage on this wine, but it is 2013 juice in the bottle, and wow, what a pretty nose, man. It's like strawberry soda. It's got some pretty rose petal notes and very fruity. Only 6.5% alcohol, some big bubbles, also a little bit like soda pop on your palate. Like I said, that wild strawberry fruit and those pretty floral notes lasting through the finish. A very good, fun little summertime wine at $20.75. That's what we had to drink with our friends from Demarie Winery from the Piedmont. I'm your host, Andrew Lampasoni, signing off for the Wine Watch, saying remember, always drink the good stuff first.